What's going on, everybody? Hope you're all having a fantastic day today. Now, ladies and gentlemen, day after day after day after day, I swear, Xdefiant just continuously keeps getting crapped on. And I understand people are losing patience. They want the game to come out. But I keep seeing claims about Xdefiant being a Call of Duty game. You know, everything about it is Call of Duty. Now, first and foremost, I want to make it very clear, I already made a video about this, but the previous claims that, Xdefiant has been postponed to be more like Call of Duty has already been debunked by Mark Rubin. You can believe him if you want. If you don't want to believe him, then by all means. I personally believe what he's saying because I don't think it's realistic that it got postponed because it wants to be more like Call of Duty. I think it really was some really bad things going on behind the scenes that had to be fixed up for the game to be launched normally. I mean, if you play through all the betas, you know there were some problems, 1010%. So yeah, I'm not angry with them postponing it and perfecting the game to make sure it's good at launch, and I also don't believe that the reason they postponed it is because of Call of Duty. But recently, the new trend of what people are complaining about is that it's not the fact that it's being postponed because it wants to be Call of Duty. No, it's the fact that the game wants to be Call of Duty in general. And it just blows my mind. It really does. It blows my mind because it makes absolutely no sense to me. As you can see right here from Modern Warzone, a new report from Inside Gaming says, almost every creative decision for the better part of 2 years concerning Xdefiant ended with the same question: what would Call of Duty do? There still is no release date announced for Ubisoft's free-to-play first-person shooter. And as you can see from the actual post itself, while there's no question that a new first-person shooter should take inspiration from other popular titles on the market, sources who spoke to Insider Gaming said that it became evident really quickly that Call of Duty was the only title that leadership was interested in. Sources said that almost every very creative decision for the best part of 2 years quickly ended with the same rhetorical question: what would Call of Duty do? And guys, this information right here is sparking so much hate in the community right now because people are just mind blown. They're saying, this game is pointless. What's the reason of this? It's not being creative. It's just trying to mimic Call of Duty. It's a Call of Duty clone. I'm not interested anymore. And again, I'm so confused because isn't this exactly what we, the community, wanted Xdefiant to be? I mean, the massive majority of people who are coming to play Xdefiant right now are Call of Duty refugees, right? People who are sick and tired of current-day Call of Duty. They're sick and tired of skill-based matchmaking. They're sick and tired of the scummy business practices of Activision. And they just want to play a fun arcade shooter. That's it. That is probably 95% of the player base of Xdefiant. Of course, with, some other people sprinkling in, newcomers, people are just wanting to check out a brand new FPS game. But I would say the mass majority of their community are people who are already fans of the Call of Duty franchise. This is what we wanted. I mean, the Call of Duty community, like I just said, has been begging for years to get another experience that can take them away from this BS. We finally get an experience that is trying to compete with Call of Duty, and now the world is ending, and it's the most, uncreative game you could possibly think of. Call of Duty fans are picky. It's hard to get them to branch out and try other games, because typically, other games don't play exactly like COD. Me personally, I enjoy playing other titles like Insurgency Sandstorm, Battlefield, Mill Sims like Hell Let Loose or Squad, or Rainbow Six Siege, CSGO, Valorant. I play all different types of FPS games. I love them all. But it's hard for a Call of Duty player to, transfer to that stuff. It really is. I've tried. I've tried many of times, and I've tried to also get people to try different games like Battle. And yes, I'm not going to say everybody doesn't branch out, but again, like I said, there are people who will enjoy some variety, just like me. People who will gladly branch out to Battlefield or gladly branch out to other titles and enjoy them. But the mass majority of Call of Duty fans are extraordinarily picky. I'm just keeping it really real with you guys. They want something that plays like COD, and they might dabble in something else a little bit, but if it's not exactly like COD, it's just irrelevant. And I'm not talking about other games like, PvE games, like Helldivers 2, for example, That's not Call of Duty, right? That's a completely different experience. So they're not looking for their COD fix out of Helldivers, but it's a fun alternative. But when people play FPS games, usually they tend to stick in their own lane. If they like tactical FPS games, they tend to stick in that lane. If they like more open, warlike FPS games, they tend to stick in that lane. If they like more arcadey style FPS games, they stick in that lane. And Call of Duty really does own a monopoly over that genre, the arcade, arena style type shooter. It's not completely arena style. Arena shooters are stuff like Halo or Doom, but you get the idea of what I'm saying here. It's an arcade shooter that's very condensed, close range, a lot of combat, very casual. You could just hop in and get your matches. No other experience can mimic this. None of them. And the ones that have tried are indie developed games, and they don't last at all. And some people do play them for a decent amount of time, but typically they can never compete with COD. And a lot of the Call of Duty fan base, guess what, hops right back into the Call of Duty cycle, and they continue to complain about the new COD. And it's nothing to go over to. They have nowhere to escape. And that's what Xdefiant is. That's what we wanted it to be. And the fact that people are angry that literally the majority of the decisions behind the scenes were, what would Call of Duty do, is kind of weird to me. I'm not looking for Xdefiant to be something revolutionary. Not even in the slightest. I'm not looking for this to be the most innovative FPS game I can possibly ever see. I'm looking for this to be competition so I can get the heck away from COD and still play something similar. Get it? And I feel like a lot of other people feel the same exact way. So why are we fighting this? Why are we trying to go against them, trying to make this game for Call of Duty players, Call of Duty fans? I mean, the head honcho, Mark Rubin, is literally an OG Call of Duty GOAT. A Call of Duty GOAT. We have him behind the scenes of Xdefiant. Isn't that what we want? Don't we want him to go ahead and make the game more like Call of Duty than ever? I mean, if we have Vince Zampella working on Xdefiant, I'm sure everybody will be saying, oh, Vince Zampella is the OG too. He's been working on Call of Duty for ages. I really hope he brings, a Call of Duty mindset into this game. We'll be saying the same thing about Vince Zampella, but why not about Mark Rubin here? It's the same situation. We got exactly what we wanted. An OG Call of Duty dev mixed with a team that is hyper-focused on trying to compete in the Call of Duty monopoly. Whether it's going to be successful or not, that's what they're aiming for. And that's what we wanted. A game that's not an indie team, a AAA, funded team that is putting together Call of Duty competition. So again, I'm going to ask, why is it a bad thing that they want the game to be like Call of Duty? Why is it a bad thing that a lot of their creative, design decisions were hyper-focused to, again, what would Call of Duty do? Because isn't that the marketplace we're trying to tap into? Aren't those the players we're trying to bring in? Aren't those the players we're trying to save? I don't care how much it is like Call of Duty. At the end of the day, I just want the gameplay to be the same. If people really think that, this is going to be the destruction of Xdefiant, I don't know what to tell you. Because as long as the gameplay is the same as it was in all the other betas, I'm happy. That's all that matters to me. That's literally all that matters. The only thing that can make me think Xdefiant is trash is if the gameplay is completely different at launch. That's it. That's the only thing that will make me want to avoid Xdefiant. Not the fact of them making the game more like COD. That's not going to make me leave. And if it makes you leave, again, I'm questioning why you're leaving, because that's what you're trying to get away from COD. So don't you want them to try to bring you in with that stuff? Some of the biggest complaints with Call of Duty are they, overproduce them. They drop one every year. They basically feel like DLCs, and they overcharge these games for $70 to $100. The microtransactions are insane. The skill-based matchmaking is through the roof, and they just don't simply enjoy the gameplay. Xdefiant checks off all of those boxes. There's no skill-based matchmaking. The game is free to play. It's already launching with a ton of content, and they're planning on keeping that up. And the gameplay is superb. It's exactly what we all wanted for a Call of Duty, I guess, replacement. And here it is, and people are angry about that. I don't know about you guys, but I'm still excited. I see people getting very impatient. I see people saying it's over. The game it's done for. It's going to drop and be screwed. But I just simply can't see how it will be screwed. They compare it to a bunch of other Ubisoft projects, but the game itself, the core, is still there. It could release buggy, but the gameplay is still there. That's what I liked about it. As long as that's there, it's nothing. It's quite literally nothing that will change my opinion. And that's what I'm so shocked about with a bunch of other people. They love the gameplay. They love that it's not sweaty. But now that it's taken too long to release, they somehow think it's going to be a brand new game. It's not. I mean, if it is a brand new game, then yeah, we got a problem. But the gameplay, they want it to be a COD competitor. That's what the gameplay was. That's literally what it was. And no-scope matchmaking is also another thing to compete with COD. Right? So, I don't know what the delays are for here. It could be anything. You know, if you want to take the word of Mark Rubin, it's because there's major game-breaking bugs behind the scenes that have to be polished off. And if you want to take the word of, you know, leakers and people putting out articles and, you know, some of the ex-developers who work there, you know, you could take the word of them and think that, you know, they postponed it because it's a Call of Duty clone and they're trying to make it more like COD. But regardless of who's right and who's wrong, I don't give a crap. I am just a guy who wants another Call of Duty alternative that has never been able to get one. And, you know, I enjoyed what I had, and I'm ready for it to drop. That's it. As long as there's no scope matchmaking and the gameplay sticks, I'm all good. But, of course, ladies and gentlemen, go down in the comment section. Leave your opinions down below. Do you think it's a really bad thing that they're trying to copy COD in pretty much all angles? Or do you think it's a good thing that we can get, you know, a replacement? Again, if you're looking for something that's innovative, I can see where you think it's bad. 1010%. Because this is not innovative at all. But I'm not looking for a new innovative FPS game. I'm just looking for another alternative to a Call of Duty title. But of course, ladies and gentlemen, if you enjoyed today's video, leave a like. If you hate it, leave a dislike. Don't forget to subscribe and hit that bell. Post daily here at 8 in the morning Eastern Time. And of course, if you are interested in more stuff, I do stream pretty much daily over on Kick. Find a link to that channel down in the description of this video. And that stream usually goes live around 1 to 2 p.m. Eastern Time. But as always, thank you for tuning in. See you on the next one. Peace out.